Imagine waking up tomorrow, and a government official tells you, you can't post your opinion online, you can't criticize the president, you can't attend church, you can't join a protest, and a reporter can't expose corruption. Sound crazy? In some places that happens. But in the United States, there is one constitutional rule designed to stop that. It's called the First Amendment, and it protects freedoms people use every day, often without even realizing it. But here's the wild part. Most people can't name all 5 freedoms it protects. Let's fix that. To understand the First Amendment, we have to go back in time. Before America became independent, the colonies were ruled by King George III and the British government. And the British did not love criticism. If you attacked the government, you could be punished. Newspapers could be shut down. Protests could be crushed. Religious freedom was limited. Speaking against authority could be dangerous. The people who wrote the Constitution remembered that. They had seen what happens when government has too much power, and they asked, how do we stop future leaders from becoming tyrants? One answer was, put limits on government into the Constitution itself. So in 1791, the First Amendment was added as part of the Bill of Rights. And it begins, Congress shall make no law. That wording matters. It starts by limiting government power, not by giving government permission, by restraining it. That's huge. The First Amendment protects 5 freedoms. Think of them as 5 shields. Each protects something important. Shield number 1, freedom of speech. This means the government generally cannot punish you simply for expressing ideas. You can disagree, debate, question leaders, challenge laws, speak unpopular opinions. That matters because free speech protects not only popular ideas, but unpopular ones too. Because protecting speech only when everyone agrees? That's easy. Protecting speech when it makes people uncomfortable? That's the test. Example, imagine a student says, I think the school lunch rules are unfair. That's opinion, protected. Imagine a citizen says, I disagree with Congress. Protected. Imagine protesters hold signs criticizing government policies. Protected. But wait, people say, freedom of speech means I can say anything. Not true. There are limits. You generally do not have protection for things like true threats, fraud, defamation, or shouting fire in a crowded theater to cause panic. Rights have boundaries. Famous case, Tinker vs. Des Moines, 1969. This involves students wearing black armbands to protest war. The school punished them. The case reached the Supreme Court, and the court said students do not shed their constitutional rights at the schoolhouse gate. Translation? Even kids have speech rights. That changed history. Shield number 2, freedom of religion. This has 2 parts. Think of it like 2 locks. Lock 1. Government cannot create an official religion. This is called the Establishment Clause. Government cannot say, this is the national religion, or force everyone to believe one thing. That protects everyone. Religious people, people with different faiths, people with no faith. Lock 2, free exercise. This protects your right to practice religion, pray, attend services, follow beliefs, as long as laws are otherwise valid and certain limits don't apply. This prevents government from interfering without strong reasons. Why does this matter? Because history is full of religious persecution. People jailed, driven out, punished. The First Amendment tried to prevent that. Shield number 3, freedom of the press. This protects the press from government censorship. And yes, this matters even if you aren't a journalist, because a free press informs citizens. And informed citizens can hold power accountable. Imagine if government could say, you may only print good news about us. That would be propaganda, not journalism. Famous example, Pentagon Papers. In 1971, newspapers published secret government documents about the Vietnam War. Government tried to stop publication. The Supreme Court largely said no. That was a major win for press freedom, because government doesn't get unlimited power to silence reporting. Shield number 4, freedom of assembly. Assembly means gathering peacefully. People coming together, marching, meeting, protesting, organizing. This includes some of the most important movements in history: civil rights, women's rights, labor movements. Without assembly, people lose collective power. Think about it. One person speaking can be ignored. 10,000 people marching? Harder to ignore. That's why assembly matters. Shield number 5, right to petition government. This is the forgotten freedom, but it's powerful. Petition means asking government to fix something. You can contact lawmakers, sign petitions, file complaints, demand policy changes, speak at public hearings. That is constitutional activity. That's not permission government allows. That's a right. Here's what's fascinating. These freedoms connect. Speech helps protest. Press spreads information. Assembly builds movements. Petition pushes government. Religion protects conscience. They reinforce each other, like gears in a machine. Remove one. The system weakens. Now let's clear up myths. Myth number 1. The First Amendment protects me from any consequence. No. It mainly protects against government censorship. Not every consequence from private people or companies. That's different. Myth number 2. Hate speech is automatically illegal. In the US, much hateful speech can still be protected, because government often can't ban speech simply because it is offensive. Offensive is not automatically illegal. Important distinction. Myth number 3. Only adults have First Amendment rights. Wrong. Students can have rights too. We saw that in Tinker. Why is it first, not fifth, not 10th? First. Many believe because it protects the tools needed to defend all the others. If you cannot speak, how do you defend rights? If the press is censored, how do abuses get exposed? If protests are banned, how do people demand change? It comes first because it supports everything else. This isn't just old parchment. It affects social media debates, campus speech fights, religious liberty disputes, press freedom battles, protests in the streets, school speech cases. It's alive every day. 5 freedoms: speech, religion, press, assembly, petition. Remember them like this: speak, believe, publish, gather, demand change. That's the First Amendment. Here's something to think about. The First Amendment does not guarantee everyone will agree with you. It does something more important. It protects the right to disagree. And in a free society, that may be one of the most important protections of all. Comment below. Which of the 5 freedoms do you think is most important? Speech, religion, press, assembly, or petition? And if you want the Second Amendment explained the same way, let me know. Today we covered what the First Amendment says. But what happens when those rights are tested in real life? In Part 2, we're diving into major Supreme Court cases and modern social media battles that shaped free speech as we know it. Follow so you don't miss it.